First, let me say rest in peace to Gabby Petito. And if you are ever feeling depressed, sad, and you feeling like your world is coming to an end, make sure that you call somebody and get help and seek help for yourself. If you're ever a victim of domestic violence, whether you be a man or a woman, make sure that you seek help to get yourself out of that situation. First, I know that it's a lot of situations where we feel like we need that person in our lives, and that if we leave that person, that we will be lost without them. And some people will use this against you to make you subject to accept the things that they are doing to you because they know that you feel like you are nothing without them. So let me first say that you are great. You are special. And you are something without them. There's always tomorrow. There's always next week. For you to be able to pick yourself up and do better for yourself without them. And I hope that all who view this understand that. And if you're ever going through something, don't be afraid to call for help because there's always somebody out there that does care. So rest in peace to Gabby. This is something that should not have happened. This is something that, just like you guys see me talk about with the police violence and, the murder on African Americans, this is something that should not happen. As men, we should have the right mind to know that when it's time to walk away, it's time to walk away. Violence is never the key when you're angry with somebody. Violence will never get it done. This is something that you can never get back when commit the heinous act of murder. You can never go back from that. That person can never get a chance to revitalize their life because it's gone. That person can never get a chance to change maybe the problems that you and them had if they're gone. How can you make up for your wrongdoings? How can just live with yourself knowing that you killed someone that you truly loved? So, in this video, I just want to touch light on some of the things that maybe the police and his parents and her parents are not really bringing to the light. And that is that Gabby suffered from depression. And no matter how much she suffered from it, there was no reason for Brian to take her life. And I'm not saying that, that things wasn't done, to make him go off the edge. I'm not saying that. I'm pretty sure that he himself went off the edge. What I'm saying is, as a person, as a human being, you have to realize when it's time to walk away. We recently seen a video regarding the two of them that the police released. And in the video, we seen that Gabby had attacked Brian. over, I guess, the van that they were living in at that time was not in the tip top shape that she wanted it to be in. This eventually led to an argument in public, led to Brian telling her that we need to separate and go our separate ways until we cool down. Let's take a walk, which led to Gabby wanting the keys to the vehicle and eventually attacking him for them, which eventually led to the police stop. I want to get to the point right here. In the video that the police submitted to the public, you could see at that point in time that Gabby was dealing with more than what was being led on to. You could see in that video that the emotional weight of being alone with somebody for months, traveling from one place to another, trying to build your brand and build your business was weighing a toll on Abby. We could see this. At least I could. What I'm saying is, there has to come a time in our lives where we recognize these signs from people and try to fix them as quickly as possible. Am I blaming Gabby for her murder? No. Did her actions beget her being murdered? No. But what I want you guys to understand is we as the public can only go off of one view that the media is telling us, and that is Brian Laundrie killed her. It's not giving us the basis of why this man did it. And I myself can't do that as well. I cannot give you a basis on why Brian committed this heinous act. All I can say is it was led up. This wasn't something that was just one moment just happened. This is something that was building up for who knows how long. So, not only did that video capture some of the problems, but who are we to say that the parents didn't catch some of these problems? The mothers, the fathers of both sides didn't catch some of these problems. Could they have been resolved before these couples went on the road with each other? Who knows? I don't. But what I do know that it was problems. And I wish that something could have been done before it went over the edge. So if you're ever going through these type of problems with, abuse, whether it be physical or mental, get away from that problem before either you or someone else, does something that you're going to regret for the rest of your life. This could have been avoided if Brian had realized the position that he was in and realized that he couldn't take that at this time. He should have realized that when the police stopped them and gave him an out right then, possibly days or weeks before he committed that crime, he should have realized then that it was time to go. What prevented him from doing that? What prevented him from leaving and going home to his parents? What prevented him from telling her, this is getting out of hand? I don't think I could do this anymore. Let's just call it quits. He is going to have to think about this for the rest of his life of what he could have done to avoid this. But it's too late. There's nothing that he could do about it. What we have to realize that, and I'm not saying that Brian was right in doing what he was doing, but from what I saw in that video, Brian was a victim of abuse. Could he have snapped to where he said, enough is enough? I'm tired of you hitting me. I'm tired of you treating me this way. So I'm going to do this heinous crime to you. Was that it? Or was this something that he was planning for a long time? This is what the police is not telling you. There's a very big chance that Brian Laundrie was the victim of abuse. In the footage that you saw from the police, in that picture, in that video, excuse me, you hear the officers counting out all of the bruises that Laundrie has on him at that point in time. He has scratches all over his neck. He has scratches all over his face. He was bleeding from his eye. He has scratches all over his arm. And he admitted, and she admitted to her physically abusing this man. But that in itself had made him snap. And let me say this again, I'm not casting judgment on Gabby. I'm not saying that he was right for killing her. That's far from what I'm saying. He was wrong. And all the time that he's going to get if he doesn't kill himself, he's going to be well deserved to do life in prison, in my point of view. Because there's nothing, I don't care how bad you're beating me, I'm not about to kill my fiance. There's no way. No way in the world I'm about to kill a woman. I don't have it in me. So every bit of time that he's going to get for this is going to be well deserved. But I just want guys to know what I saw from the one video that I did see. I can only go on what I saw until the evidence is revealed. But is there any doubt that Brian Laundrie was in an abusive relationship with Gabby? Because regardless of how people want to admit it, there are men out here that are being abused by women. Every woman that I've ever been with, I don't know about you, but in my opinion, growing up in the hood, growing up where I grew up and dealing, I guess, me dealing with the type of women that I've dealt with throughout my life, all of them like to put their hands on you. So we cannot escape the fact that some men in relationships are being abused emotionally and physically. And from what it looks like in the video that I saw, was that Brian was a victim of abuse. And I just don't know what else to make of it. So could we could we have done something to prevent all of this from happening? Could the parents have done something to prevent this from happening? Could Gabby have done something that prevented this from happening? Could Brian for sure have done something to prevent this from happening? The answer is yes. There has to come a time in our lives as adults, people. And I feel sorry because I can't say this to Gabby or Brian. But what makes it worthwhile is that I could say this to you. Because it just could be one person that's listening to my voice right now that is going through this same exact thing. It may be on the verge of committing a crime that is going to affect them for the rest of their lives. So before you do this, let me let you know this. There's always other options. Whether or not you feel that you're worthless without that person, whether they are telling you that you are worthless, whether you feel like you'll be homeless, whether you feel like you'll be nothing without this person, there is other options. There are other places that you can go with yourself that, you know, will get you out of the mess that you're in to prevent things like this from happening to you. If you are ever a victim of abuse, whether it be physical or mentally, emotionally, whatever it is, leave that situation. Get away from that situation because it's only going to get worse. You may love them. Yes, I know you love them. But does love say that you have to accept abuse? No, love doesn't say that. Just because you may have kids with somebody doesn't mean that you have to deal with that type of abuse. You don't have to deal with it. And if you are a person who can't help yourself from abusing somebody, you need to go seek psychological help because every situation doesn't have to involve you putting your hands on somebody or belittling somebody. Think of their feelings. Think of how they feel when you do this. Think of the trauma that they have to deal with. They have to think about this every day. Think about that, man. Think about how you would feel if they were no longer in your life. Think about all the things that you would miss. the possible the possible kids that you could have, the possible life that you could have outside of drama. Think about that. And if you think that that's something that this person cannot bring that to you, leave. It's so easy to leave. Until next time, peace and blessings to everyone. Just think before you do things. And if you feel that somebody has a psychological problem, mental health issues, get them help. Get them somebody that they can talk to, someone who calms them down. Until next time, peace.